boxes, and maybe you know a place that would allow us to put up a collection box to collect new books, please get a hold of us. QR code's the best way to do it. If you would like to sponsor the event, we need sponsors. We desperately need sponsors. As you guys can see, every time I move my arm or something like that, and I'm very talkative, there we go. This camera I have goes in and out of focus. I need to get a new camera. That's part of what we do for professional, quote unquote, professional podcasting. Besides that, I got to worry about this thing called a 22-hour podcast coming up in February. So it's something you could really help us out by sponsoring this event. Every sponsorship, there is a portion that goes to buying books and putting books into hospitals. So please scan the QR code, whether it's a $5 donation, a $50 donation, or a $300 donation. Every penny counts. Every penny helps. Plus, if you've got a YouTube channel and we can pirate your YouTube channel for 37 hours, there's a place for you to get in and do that too. Allow us to join with you and steal your audience and spread our message of love, of caring, of collaborating, of getting together and understanding and teaching each other about what we are, how we grew up. I want to hear how you grew up as a kid, what your holiday was like as a kid. You know, what do you do on the first day of Hanukkah? I'm interested. You know, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I asked, you know, or I didn't ask them. I was just making the point that, you know, I hear about Hanukkah and all I can think of is kids get tops. That's such an asinine comment and thought, because I know it's so much more than that. I just don't know what it is. But it's all hearsay because I don't know anything about the religion. I want to know what it is. I have no idea how you celebrate Kwanzaa. I want to know what this is. So we're looking for people who are going to be like Maggie Van Galen and bring us her 3 wonderful books, A New Friend, The Banana Tree. Now I kind of want a banana. And The Diamond Mine. Now I really want a diamond. If I had a diamond, I could afford a banana. Probably a new friend too. These are all books. Well, see, it's what I get for drinking water. I just knocked it all over my desk. That's why I don't ever drink water. It's dangerous. These are the books from The Adventures of Kino and Ernest. And once again, she is donating an hour of her time to come on and read these books. What we're going to do is we're going to spread the words to hospitals, to daycares. We're going to spread the word all over, and we're going to say, hey, you know what? Coming up at this time, and this time, if you would like, please set your kids in front of the computer, the smart TV, put it on one of these channels, and you can listen to Maggie Van Galen read her book. We've also got Santa Claus, who's going to read a couple books to kids. And what they're going to do is they're going to bring us a little bit of that Christmas cheer. I would love to have some Jewish leaders come on, because this is not a Christmas event. Understand that. This is not a Christmas event. This is an event that is happening, yes, on Christmas Day. But this is an event about all of us being together, working together. I've heard all of my life how this is the season of caring and sharing. Let's care and share. Let's share about each other's traditions. Let's learn about each other. If you have a brother or a sister you haven't been able to talk to in a long time, this is a perfect chance for you to get out there and say, you know what? Do you remember when we were kids, how we used to do ... I miss you. I love you. I can't wait till I get to see you again. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Wonderful Kwanzaa. Whatever you want to say, as long as it's positive, as long as it's uplifting, and as long as it's good, we're going to give you an opportunity to record a message. But we really do. We want to hear these stories because stories are so damn important. I might be thinking that way because, you know what? I'm an older guy and I can see the writing on the wall. It's about all the writing I can see anymore because, the print is getting so small and my eyes are getting so bad. But I guess I can see that writing on the wall. But this is a chance for us to really take and make a difference for people. Next week on our show, it's the Les Simpson Show. And we're bringing back J.W. Wilson. I don't know if you guys got to see it last month, but J.W. Wilson is a brain expert. And he's able to tell you how they've used brain science to attract donors to you, nonprofits, and customers to you, businesses. They can go through your website, and little changes that can be made and put in, even like a graphic put in a slightly different area can mean a lot to your target audience. It's a very, very interesting conversation. And we're looking for up to 3 volunteers to come on and have J.W. Wilson read your website. Look at your website on air, which is a great opportunity for you to come on air live with us. Tell us your story. Tell us who you are. Tell us about your business. And have JW give you a couple, suggestions. Not saying you have to use them. That's not what we're saying at all. We're just saying, you know what this is? Look, let's be honest. This is kind of like volunteering for free ice cream. I'm full of crap there. If I was volunteering for free ice cream, I wouldn't be doing a podcast right now. I'd be eating free ice cream. Even if it is, 19 degrees here in Colorado right now. God, it's cold. Anyway, this is a chance for you to just, look, this guy's been doing this for over 30 years. Let him look at your website. Just come on. Tell us about what you do. Get yourself seen a little bit. Maybe get a couple ideas. If you're wondering why business has been so slow, this is a chance for you to do it. How? You might be asking, how can I make this happen? How can I volunteer to come on and let J.W. Wilson look at my website? Bada bing. That little QR code there with the funny looking guy in the middle that looks like he saw a bird. Scan that code. That'll take you to my For My card. You can make an appointment with me. And I will get you on the show live next Wednesday at 7 East, 6 Central, 5 Mountain, and 4 Pacific. But you get to come on live. You get to join us. J.W. Wilson will look at your website, and we will have a lot of fun. You'll get to tell people about your business, and we'll get to learn a lot more about you and what you're doing. So please make sure you sign up. Come on and join us. Next week is the return of our monthly family networking event. We had a lot of fun in October. We really did. We got to learn a lot. Everybody that was there, I knew, of course. I kind of run the thing, so I hope I knew them. But you know what we did? We had a lot of fun, but there was something missing. You were missing. Let's not let that happen again. Join us next Thursday for family networking. Y'all damn near heard a cough right there because I tried to take a drink of soda and I think it went down the wrong nostril. Why the hell I was trying to drink soda down my nostril, I'll never know, but I tried to do it. Our interview tonight is really timely because when we did this interview, we knew the election was going to be here. And we knew that there could be some issues. And we wanted to take this opportunity to where we could get a chance to work mending some fences, some division fences that have been put up right now in the workplace. And we can take and we can mend our fences and try to build each other back up. Esther Deutsch is a great friend of mine, and she's going to join me hopefully every month so we can talk about the differences between men and women working, okay, in different positions. We ask you to join us at any time. We'll let you know when we're going to record. You can come on, you can ask these questions, and you can give your opinions. Look, this is a conversation that we all need to have. When you're at work, if you start talking with a female or you're afraid to talk to a female because you're like, oh my God, every time it seems like somebody opens their mouth anymore, they're getting, well, maybe it's because you're saying the wrong things. Esther talks about how when she was younger, she wasn't going to say a damn thing. She was going to keep her mouth shut. She was going to, what? No, I'll put up with a bunch of BS, but I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to lose my job. That's ridiculous. But that's the way a lot of young women feel in the business world. This is my great friend, Esther Deutsch, and I had a great time with this interview, and I cannot wait until we talk again next month. But please, this is a series that we're going to be talking about how we can better work men and women as a team. So my lovely friend here, we wanted to start a show together, but then she got off, going on vacations. Nothing going on in her life, nothing like two storms or any of this other stuff and moving. And so you've just been trying to avoid me, right? That's what it was.
Never, my friend. I would do anything to hang out with you. It's actually an honor to be back here. So thank you for having me.
Well, I really appreciate I appreciate you coming on here because I really think, Esther, it's very important what we're doing here, because this is a way that we can talk as a man and woman and try to figure out how we can work together and strengthen the workplace and maybe even make the workplace you know, an even battleground, if you will, for both sexes to make this important, to make it stronger for everyone. Because there is no way that it can be strong for anyone if it's just a constant battle, can it?
100%. Stronger together. That's what I always say. We actually have to, now more than ever, when things
Yeah.
seem divided, we got to pull together. So,
And
yeah,
that's kind of where we're going to go with this today, in which, thankfully, by the time that this plays, the chaos of the election portion is probably still under review. To be honest with you, it's probably still going on,
I would assume
but
so.
the election day has happened. It is over. And one of the things that we saw the most was there was a split between women and men. This means there's going to have to be a reckoning that's going to come between women and men. And I think that this is an opportunity for people who really want to see a change in workplaces. I really think that this could be a chance for them to build that communication, that workspace, build it stronger, because we're going to have to scrap what was once there, to rebuild and do things. What are some of the things that you think we ought to start with?
Oof, it's a good question. I think just having open dialogue and conversation, which is part of the reason I think what you're doing is so important, is sounds basic, but it's actually lacking. I think we're getting worse at it, not better.
Hmm.
And just understanding that nothing could begin without not just conversation, but open and honest. I find because I'm paying more attention to what's around me and the conversations that I'm having with friends or seemingly friends, and just out of necessity. And it's actually alarming and sometimes shocking to me, uh, just that we like realizing that we are struggling to just like take a step back and kind of let our emotions aside for a minute and just try to understand where someone's coming from, even if you don't agree with them. Like, I think that it's the same, it's a good correlation between like women and men. Like, we don't have to agree. We each have different perspectives and life experiences we're probably always going to, and that's actually a good thing. But we need to be able to talk. Like, we could talk and not come to resolution, and that's fine. Like, we're not talking to necessarily come to something. And I think even just like having conversation with that in mind, like, I'm not going to agree with you
Yeah.
and you're not going to agree with me. Let's just hear like what each other are thinking, why, and then I think that alone would really make a big impact, like just to create spaces for people to talk, especially in the workplace, which is interesting because I think a lot of it is, I don't want to say regulated, but it's a different type of environment because you have your job. But if we could just create space with the intention of not actually coming to agreement, but just hearing each other, it's super powerful. Yeah.
You know, I hear all the time, and this is something that we hear in the guys' world. Okay, that well, we got to tiptoe around now because we're afraid to say anything. Well, the truth about that is, and I'm very open about this. Where the men used to be able to walk up to someone and pat them on the back and say, "Hey, sweetheart, how's it going?" That was never a proper thing. It was never, it was never something that's great to do. Now I'm a hugger, so it's a good thing that I work alone probably a lot of times, but that's but the truth is that we don't have to tiptoe around. Just when you're out there, when you're meeting with someone, when you're working with someone, just think about what you're saying. Don't walk up. You wouldn't walk up to the Pope and give him the devil horns. You just wouldn't do that and expect him to talk about heavy metal music and have a conversation. This is one of those, you can talk freely, just don't talk stupid.
So I think you bring up some very good points. I'm going to say a few words. So authenticity, I think that's part of the danger of some of what the diversity and inclusion is. I think, there's a fine line between like you can be yourself, and I think people need to be less sensitive. And at the same time, I think to your point, people need to be more curious and ask before they do things so you don't assume. And I think it's the curiosity piece. That's the other word I'd say is curious. Curiosity is I like the way I see it is like if somebody says or does something offensive to me, everyone's going to at some point, and it's fine. It's do when I tell them, oh, like that's offensive, and I'm not good at saying that, and I should because there's nothing wrong. Like that's how you learn. Like that's how you move forward. Like it's fine that they said it. Now it's fine that I'm gonna say like that's offensive, or here's why, or here's what it means to me, or in this context it came across as, and then they're gonna learn, and then they won't do it again to me because if they do it again, that's a problem, right? Like it's just like
Yeah.
it's like we got to be able to stumble, we got to be able to say things, we got to be able to make mistakes. And I've always admired people. Like I have some friends who are much better I am than like just letting things roll. And I think it's important to use humor. It's something that I'm working on because I think we do need to share. And me as a person, right? When somebody tells me something in a nice way and out of a caring and from a caring place, I'm actually grateful, right? Because they're my friend and I care about them, or they're not and they're a stranger and I want to be better to them in that way. It's actually similarly, this came up for me recently in dating too, is like, you want to know where people come from or what they've been through, not to use it against them, but so that you can embrace them better in the things that they might feel insecure about, or based on their own experiences have experienced, you want to do better for them. And so I think it's also about caring, right? Like if you really care about them, then you want to hear the constructive criticism and vice versa, right? So
And I don't think it's a problem if somebody comes up to you, and if a guy has a question that he's really struggling with, maybe talking to someone he works with, a female that he's working with, and if you really want to know, I mean, talk to somebody you trust first and ask them, okay, this is
true.
the response. Why am I getting this pushback? And having you on the other side really sit there and listen and say, well, maybe she mistook what you said here, or maybe it's just a point she just doesn't like you. Which, guess what, that happens with guys too. We say things to each other that we're just like, oh, okay, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Go play over there in the corner because we don't have anything in common.
I think we also just we do have more common ground, and I think ultimately at heart everybody does want the same things, and it's the way that we go about getting it or not getting it, or the blockages that come up because of our experiences towards that goal that get in the way. And I think we do need to focus on that more. And just I could tell you how many times my opinion or has gotten kind of shut down before it's come up, and that's a problem. Like I should be able to say anything I want to say, even if it's I think everyone should die. I mean, I shouldn't, again, there's a balance, but like if that's my opinion, then there's a reason, and like there's it should be heard in some way in the right context. Sometimes I should be able to express that freely to a friend, even if it's a horrible thought. But how am I ever going to change or realize that it's a thought I shouldn't have if I can't talk about it or have somebody listen, especially somebody that I care about and trust and cares about me? Like there has to be room to talk, right? Like,
There's
uh,
nobody in business that is going 100% perfect. It doesn't happen. Your business is not, not even the richest of the rich are their companies successful all the time. Listening to other people is the only way that you can ever improve your business,
exactly.
and listening to everyone, and even somebody with, you know, the most basic, or even if they've got a personal bias against you, still listening to their complaints is a great way to start a conversation, and then having an ally like yourself that you can bounce that off the wall, because you're one of my advisors when it comes to it. I really like going to you when if somebody asks me a question or makes a statement, and I'm like, well, I'm really lost here. I don't know what I said. I don't know what I did. Where do I need to apologize, or do I need to apologize? You know, in which, let's be honest, apologies are, as long as they're sincere, they're the best things in the world. And they can really take and they can show that you are very serious about what they think. So, but where do we as men, where do we need to, like, what would be the first thing that you tell your male colleagues, that, okay, if you want, for me to feel like I'm being heard, take this step, you know listen to what I'm saying here, and then give me it, then we'll go with the men where we feel that we need to be listened to a little bit.
I've seen a lot of instances. I'm just going to speak from experience of what I've experienced myself or seen. A lot of times the standard for women is different, and it plays out in different ways. But even in a room, like that would be one example of just having kind of those same expectations. It's hard because I think not a lot of it happens kind of naturally, and not an excuse, but that's why I say like just stepping back and kind of just thinking more, like even being more aware. Like if they hear this talk, right? And just like think more when you're in a room with women. Are they being heard? Are they being listened to? Even if they're quiet, that might be because they've previously been shut down. So I've had amazing male bosses who would say like, "What do you think, Esther?" Or like, intentionally, like, I think you can make space for it. And even if it's not in that meeting, at least they know that there's a room for maybe the next one where they can talk. So I think just like paying attention, and then every situation is different. And it's also sometimes, I know a lot of women. It's funny. I don't know if you've ever seen SWAT, but there's like an episode where there's a lot of actually gender talk and underlying themes in that series on Netflix, and a lot of it is where they're trying so hard to make the woman be equals and heard, that the women are like, I stop like giving me special treatment. We just want to be the same. We don't want to be, patronized. So I think there's a fine line. I don't think we're there, so I think we're okay. But I mean, just not shutting them down. I think a lot of men tend to like talk over or just fill space, and then the women kind of get like thrown to the side. So I think if you're in a room and you feel like that's happening, you could try and say something, or pull the whoever it was aside after and be like, "Hey, I noticed XYZ. Maybe if we like just leave some silence, some other people will feel like they can talk if they want to, that kind of thing." So it's the little things.
Yeah, and again, I think that where you're going with that is really, I think that if we would take, and when we start feeling uncomfortable, just asking that question, did I, you know, I'm not really feeling, I'm not really feeling like we completely understood that, right? What I just said. Did you hear something that was uncomfortable or wrong to you?
Totally.
I
Ask
and get immediate feedback.
feedback. Yeah, 100%.
So, in which getting immediate feedback is something that I think is so very important, because we are all so hyper focused on what we're talking about at that
Yeah.
second that we can't remember from minute to minute what we are talking about. And so stopping people right at that second, I think, is really, really important in bringing that up.
Absolutely. And I'd also add, I think something I've seen is a lot of times when I, let's say, hop on a meeting with a new client or partner, whatever, um, there's a lot of times assumption of like what everyone's roles are. And I do find that there's a correlation between what people think the women do and men do. And I find that it's always very helpful when somebody on the call, especially if the senior person on the call who's already known to the client is a male, to introduce everybody and share what they do so that you kind of like proactively counter that. It sounds silly, but it just happens a lot. And I've seen it over and over where it's like, oh, the client may not even say anything. They'll just follow up after and be like, oh, yeah, she's like in marketing or whatever, whatever the. Um, so I think that's like a nice way to proactively say, like, here's everyone's roles and you should know. I mean, I would also say when I was starting out, I found many times people would like assume that I wasn't a decision maker without any context, just based on me. And it could have been an age. I'm not saying it was my gender, but it's hard to pinpoint these things sometimes. But either way, I mean, bias is bias. And so I think we just need to not make assumptions. I'm always like, just ask. If you want to know, just say, are you the decision maker? Like it's that simple, you know? So
I believe I even mentioned this to you when we first met, and I said something. I said something along the lines of, "It's amazing that some of your answers, that you give some of the answers, the complex and the way that you answer things, because you are so young." I don't see that as a compliment. I actually, I'll say something like that because I'm curious on where you get that much knowledge at a younger age. Because, okay, look, you're quite a bit younger than I am, and it took me until I was in my late 40s till I could figure anything out, other than motorcycle, beer, motorcycle, beer. That was my life. That really was. So seeing somebody who's got it all put together, and I know that sometimes comes across as something that is could be seen as insulting. Well, God, you're so young. How in the hell do you have it figured out already? And that's not what I'm not trying to be insensitive there, but it's